So welcome back to Finance in Flow, helping CFOs building smarter, more insightful, and more connected finance teams. And your host today, I am Catalina Ibáñez Gutiérrez, Senior Consultant at Lucanet. And today we are closing out the season with a powerful topic, modernizing finance system from legacy system to cloud-native platforms. Joining me are two fantastic guests from Lucanet, Antonia Reither, Vice President of Customer Excellence, and Bryan Wong, Senior Solution Engineer. Antonia, welcome to Finance in Flow. Before we dive into today's topic, would you tell us, please, a little bit about your role at Lucanet and how your team support customers during their transformation journey?
Thanks, Catalina, for the invite to this great podcast. Yes, my name is Antonia. I'm SVP Customer Excellence responsible together with my team for onboarding our customers properly to our products. So there are many consultants in my team, but also technical service engineers, support agents, partner success managers, etc., taking care of that our customers are really trained on our products, know exactly what to do, and have a very fast time to value. This is how we call it. So very fast value creation out of our products. Yeah.
So thank you, Antonia. Bryan, great also to have you here with us. Can you give us also a quick overview of your work as a senior solution engineer? What is this about and how you help finance teams implement scalable and secure solutions?
Sure, Catalina. Thank you for the introduction. Hello, everybody. I am Bryan. I am a senior solution engineer here at Lucanet. So as the name suggests, a solution engineer, what we really do is build solutions and also cater solutions to our clients and prospects. So we work together with our close counterparts in the sales team. And fundamentally, what we do really is to stay curious and focused on what the client is telling us. For example, if let's say they have any challenges, any pain points, any bottlenecks, we'll be there with an open mind and listening ear and really understanding all these things they're sharing with us. And then we can position Lucanet, if Lucanet is a fit to the challenges that they face, and present and articulate Lucanet as a solution to their challenges. So in a nutshell, that is what we do. We work together with our sales team to make sure that our Lucanet clients have the best solution available to them.
Why this topic now? Modernizing finance systems from legacy system to cloud-native platforms. Because finance teams are under pressure to deliver faster insights, ensure compliance, and stay agile. Legacy systems are not longer enough, and cloud-native platforms are opening new possibilities. So, Bryan, how would you describe the difference between legacy system and cloud-native platforms?
Thanks, Catalina, for the question. I think when we think of legacy systems, right, you think of the word legacy. Legacy comes from legend, right? So it comes from somewhere maybe 20, 30 years ago. So these legacy systems that we are talking about, these are usually on-premise. So perhaps, for example, if a company has purchased a legacy system, it's stored and also run from a server. It might be on the 5th floor, somewhere in the basement, locked up with 2 padlocks. And these legacy systems that generally don't come with much flexibility. They were good for their time, let's say 30 years ago, when these systems were first introduced to the scene. But of course, as time passes, we've seen some technological improvements, and these legacy systems are not really designed for what we need today. And what we really need today, I think, it's really agility and the need for us to really respond to all the different business needs and changes around in the world and how fast the world is moving today. I think finance software and finance and solutions have to make that transition from a legacy platform all the way to an on-cloud version. So the on-cloud version really gives us, and native on-cloud platforms really give us scalability, they give us automation, and also allows for people to collaborate with one another. And this allows for businesses to really scale in such a very fast-moving world. And that's really the difference between legacy systems as well as modern cloud solutions.
Do you have some example as well that you want to share with us?
Yeah, well, usually I give this example whenever I speak to a client that is not too familiar with the difference. And usually also clients have some sort of legacy system. And so maybe if I take a step back and explain, instead of using systems, let's use, for example, the difference between a hard drive as well as Google Drive. So, for example, a lot of my clients, the way they think of this is, and I'll explain, is if you use, for example, a hard drive, it is usually connected to one computer. It's not that easy to pass the hard drive from one person to another person, and usually also has very limited or rather fixed storage, right? Let's say 100 gigabytes of storage. Oh, that's different from Google Drive. If you go on Google Drive, you'll be able to up the number of bytes of storage that you need. And also, if you work on a drive system like that, you can have different people that are adding files to folders and things like that. Really speeds up collaboration. You can tag people in comments, and this really helps to symbiotically make all the working relationships work. So I think that's kind of the analogy I use when it comes to on-prem versus cloud. And so I think when people think of this, they naturally understand that, okay, I understand when you say scalability, when you say automation, when you say collaboration.
So there was a really great example. I think is clear for me now. So Antonia, what are some of the common pain points in finance teams face when they are working with a legacy system?
Yeah, good question, Catalina. I mean, Bryan, from my perspective, has already made some great examples, right? And this is really also what we see when we work with our customers together, and they still use legacy systems somehow in their environments. It's a lot of manual work, right? They have to push data from A to B to C, right? Reconcile data manually, create a reporting manually. And you can imagine, right? This is super, super time intense, right? And very often then you also have the data in different silos. Data doesn't fly from A to B to C. So you're also not absolutely sure whether your data is really, so to say, consistent, right? And this is, of course, also risk, compliance risk that goes in hand with that. So all in all, this is a very typical phenomenon, I must say, talking about our customers, that there are somehow these legacy systems, on-premise systems in place, and they are really struggling because it takes all too much time in these times where you need to be so fast.
Yeah, but I think that's a small point that what you had said, yeah, but actually makes a big difference. That's the lack of agility, right? So, Antonia, would you agree that by the time the data gets processed in this legacy system, there is often already outdated somehow?
Indeed, right? We really see that customers are receiving data from those systems, right? It takes time. Spreadsheets that are sent via email, for example, from A to B. And you can imagine the moment you start analyzing this data and getting insights out of these data, right? In order to make then the right strategic decisions, it might happen that these are completely outdated already. So there's definitely risks that our customers are facing because it simply goes not as fast and as agile as it should be. And what we are doing in professional services, right, in my teams is also, of course, making sure that we really support our customers and getting up to speed with the right systems in place, being not dependent from us, right, but rather being independent from us, doing it rather themselves. Yeah, handle it all completely themselves. This is our aim. To make them really confident that the data they handle, they're completely also able to take the right decisions from.
And Bryan, what makes platform truly cloud native? Maybe only hosted in the cloud? No, right? There are maybe some other things that we need.
Yeah, I wish it was that simple. I wish it was like, oh, okay, you've got an image in your computer, and all you have to do is to transfer to the cloud. Just copy the image and then paste it on the browser, and you call that the cloud version. I wish life was so simple. But no. It's a great question, Catalina, right? So when you talk about like cloud native systems, and what's the difference between cloud native systems versus a on-prem legacy system? I think it really boils down to like architecture. And so the architecture is really comes from the philosophy of why the software engineers and the solution architects and why they built a system like that in the first place. So I think the first thing to think about really for cloud native platforms is, right, why were they built and what were they built for? And for cloud native systems, what they were really intended to do is to be designed from ground up, and to what I mentioned just now, we really talk about how it can scale, how it can help automation, and how it can help collaboration. So that's really the essence of why these systems were built on top of all these legacy systems. And so this is the fundamental idea of why these cloud native systems were built. So with that said, then if we really need to bump up the agility and we need to really respond to the world and the changing needs of consumers or other businesses, then these cloud systems will be able to allow us to easily scale up, right? These are elastic. So for example, if let's say I needed, let's say a new dimension to be put in, and the finance team is there trying to see, okay, there's a new business segment that needs to be created. There's a new go-to-market motion in a certain new market. Lucanet is doing the same as well as all these other businesses. So CFOs will be able to then use a cloud-based architecture to then say, hey, finance team, add in a new dimension and then add in a new business segment and let me analyze that. That can be done very easily on the fly. So that's what I mean by, for example, the scalability and adapting to the quick, fast-paced world that we live in.
And I think another important topic is the security, right? So often this is one of the first concerns when finance teams consider moving to the cloud. But cloud native platforms are changing the game. Instead of adding security at the end, it should be built from the start. So this approach is called shift-left security, and it helps catch up early some issues that make the system more resilient. So this is one great thing think about cloud platforms is that they are built to keep things running, even if something breaks, right? So they spread operation across different zones. So if one part goes down, the rest keep working. So plus with automated testing and real-time monitoring, companies can catch issues early and avoid down times in the process. So Antonia, from your experience, how do cloud native platforms help strengthen security and lower operational risk?
Yeah, a really great question, because what we really see is that also our customers moving step by step to our cloud platform see these or understand this first as a biggest risk, right? But on the other side, I must say, I really have seen customers reaching out to us saying, hey, my data dump that I did overnight, right? We have been hacked. It's gone. No option. They had it on premises, all installed in premises. And we really then also had no chance to help. Right? But now we are in a completely different setup. And step by step, we really see that our customers are also seeing the value of really having their data on the cloud. And why is that, right? Of course, we are also, as you have mentioned it, we have adapted our processes accordingly. So when you think about shift-left security, this is exactly what we are doing. So we are not embedding security checks in the very end of the development process, rather in the very beginning, right? So you have the design phase, coding phase, the engineers build, but then immediately you have the security check. And this is how it goes in loops, right? This is shift-left security, really a mechanism that we live here. And on the other side, when we think about our cloud availabilities, right, we also work with multi-zone availability. So you have to imagine one region goes down, this could happen immediately, another one jumps in so that there are no downtimes at all. And next to this, there's continuous monitoring, automated penetration testings, right? There's a lot that we are doing here that are also standards, right? That you have to, of course, provide when you are supporting a SaaS platform. And we really see more and more customers really also understanding this value.
I see it as well. Yeah. So talking about cloud native platforms, clearly unlock real-time data and automation. Yeah. But I would love to go a step further. And this is the favorite topic of the hour. I will say this on the podcast. So how do they set the foundation of becoming AI native, right? We're talking about AI native. So just to be clear to everyone, to our listeners, when we say AI native, we are talking about systems that are built in AI on the core. So it's not about adding AI later. It's about designing everything from the start to use things like machine learning, natural language processing, and smart automation from the beginning, from the start. So that way, decisions can be made faster, more intelligently, and more better insights. So more predictable using AI. So Bryan, how does cloud native infrastructure support that kind of transformation? Do we need a native cloud for have these AI?
Yeah, 100%. That's a great question. So I think the way I like to think about it is like that, right? Just imagine if you, let's say you log into Chat GPT right now, and then you say, hey, give me a recipe for baking a chocolate cake. But imagine also then the data does not come from the World Wide Web. So there's no connection to the data to the World Wide Web. How in the world is ChatGPT gonna be able to give you that answer that everybody expects today, right? They type in 1 second, boom, right? Flour, blah 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 blah, chocolate. So I think in the same way you can apply the analogy into like an AI native platform. So for example, in my example, what I'm trying to say is that in terms of enabling AI in your workflows, right? Cloud native platforms are really the backbone of such a thing because they allow the data to flow. So if let's say you're talking about a certain finance solution, you have data sitting in maybe different silo, different databases, and how this data flows really helps the AI engine to really understand and be a central nervous system. And also, these cloud native systems, what they have inherent in them are things like microservices, things like API connections. And with all these connections, you'll be able to then form a more unified, a stronger, more valuable piece of the finance puzzle and to solve greater and bigger problems in finance, right? Making sure that the data flows from all these systems and be able to interact with one another and to be able to tackle the problems for today. So when you are really embracing cloud native technology, you're not really just only storing data. You're making sure that the data flows and then the AI in time to come, for example, if there were agentic workflows, that they were able to use this data and refresh and learn and grow together with you. And so that's really the core of what I wanted to share today.
So we need native cloud native to have AI native. So that's the call, so to say.
100%. That's exactly what I wanted to say.
And the great thing is, of course, just to add to that, Bryan, if you don't mind, the great thing is also, right, when you're cloud native, right, the great thing is you can also release way much faster, right? So every AI, so to say, will benefit from way faster release cycles, right? That they're improving and improving also the AI functionalities in the product. This is also not possible when you have it simply on premises, right? You are way much agile, faster in your deployments also whenever it comes to new AI technology to be released.
So really machine learning and the speed. So Antonia, but looking ahead and talking about professional services and customer success. So how is your team evolving the approach to support AI native in finance teams? I'm really curious. No, I know because I'm part of your team, but can you share that with the listeners?
I just wanted to.
Yeah.
I wanted to say, Catalina. I mean, for all it is all about time to value, fast time to value, right? And AI is exactly going in that direction, right? Just speeding up how we are doing services. So for us, it's really a perfect moment in time, I must say, and also for our customers to have now this new technology, AI, to make our implementations even faster, right? To make our customers then also in the end even faster, happier, right? Since they are very, very much faster, also able to completely use our products, right? So this is definitely what is the core of what's coming next. How can we onboard faster to have also earlier, very happy customers next to our side, right? But it's also about how we are doing support in the future, right? How can we also make sure 24/7 support is there with the right chatbots available, right? So there's so much also predictive services that we not just react on what's already happening when a customer complains. No, we know it beforehand, right? Because we see the first signals. This is what we are currently working on, always making sure that our services are becoming even better with the right use of AI.
But I also heard the human component behind scenes, right? Like we are preparing, but with AI, but the human component is also a clue on that.
Exactly. Exactly. So without the human component, right, the people that are also translating, of course, what the AI is doing there to our customers, right, it will, of course, be not a success, right? You always need these people orchestrating the AI to make sure that our customers also understand and have the trust in what has happened there.
So, and finally, Bryan, how should finance lead be thinking about processing their organization for AI as a part of their modernization strategy?
That's a big topic. So let's try to structure it a little bit down. So I think like AI, it's a sexy tool, right? And it's
It
something new.
is.
It's a new kid on the block,
Yes.
and it's something very flashy in today's day and age. Actually, if you think about when the word AI came into picture, it was not just a few years ago, and now it just boomed into this really big thing. So your question is very very interesting, right? So how do finance leaders really steward the team in terms of this AI age? I think there are two parts maybe to my answer. I think the first part is that as much as AI is very flashy and very sexy, actually if you dive deeper into it, really it starts from like clean, structured data. Because as the saying goes, garbage in, garbage out. If you don't have clean, structured data, you don't have a scalable infrastructure, then the AI would basically generate garbage for you. So in order to make sure we steward AI properly, I think we need to first understand that AI is a means to an end. You got to make sure that your core remains good and remains clean. So that's on the physical side of it. The second part of my answer, I think really is more of, I think Antonia mentioned this, right? It's all about like people. It's a mindset shift that everybody needs to have in terms of AI. So as an organization, of course, you have some people that might be very pro AI. When ChatGPT was released, the first day, playing around with ChatGPT. And then you have people, of course, waiting 2-3 years, haven't even touched ChatGPT until today. And so I think fundamentally, if you want an organization to move together in a unified fashion, then you need to understand and educate people. And I guess people who don't want to adopt a new technology, if it can be because of fear, can be because of, my job is going to get replaced by AI. And I think that fear maybe comes from maybe a lack of understanding, right? And I think leaders really need to inculcate and educate maybe the team to understand that AI is here. But if you are disciplined and you are a value-adding professional, AI is not going to replace your job. AI is actually going to augment you. Think of AI like Iron Man, right? Iron Man doesn't have capabilities. He doesn't have superpowers like Superman, but he's able to put on a suit, and the suit is able for him to fight all the different like villains, right? So in the same way, I think if you position AI that way and allow people to adopt AI in their day-to-day, that's where I think we would really thrive. So in summary, just good clean data, good structure, as well as a good mindset shift.
Antonia, do you have something to add here? And because
It's a great metaphor.
yeah.
Just saying it's a great metaphor.
Yeah.
Will keep it also to explain it to my kids. I'll keep it in mind. I tell you, Bryan.
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
think
I prefer Iron Man. I didn't know why Iron Man came out, but okay.
I think it's so important in this mind setting, right? And the willing to learn how we can use best these tools that we have today. Because if we don't do that, we will be I don't know, out of the game, right? But it's the mind setting, and
Yeah.
use it as a tool, right? As a strategy to get through things that are keeping up at night, so to say. The things that we are thinking and rethinking, AI can help us to solve those, and then we can focus on the important things. For example, that our customers are happy. Yeah. So, Bryan, from your experience working with finance teams, what does a success modernization journey typically involve? If we are talking about native cloud, of course, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of my clients, I think they enjoy the what we call the happy dreamland, right? You show a slide, for example, and say, okay, this is where you are right now, and this is where we are gonna bring you to, and they're usually really happy with the end result. So we call that like as is and to be, right? As is what your current state is today, and then to be is where they will end up after implementation, after the fast time to value, after Antonia and the team does a fantastic job. But actually, I think like perhaps the way to think about it, and the way usually I tell my clients and advise them is okay, the happy land is there, and this is something that we can all look forward to. But fundamentally, I think what's really important is to really look at what the as is, which means what is your state today? Because you first got to understand what is the pain point, what are the bottlenecks, what are the things basically you are trying to solve, and really deep dive into that before we go into that happy state. Because if you don't have fundamentally an understanding of what is causing you all the pain and trauma today, then no matter what happy or rather any great software or implementation we bring you there, you wouldn't be happy and satisfied with what is causing you issues today. And the general direction they will be bringing you might not be somewhere that you want to go, because you generally don't have your orientation of where you are today. So I think that's really crucial, right? Understanding where your current pain points stand, and so that we can chart a path to your future happy land.
Then once you do that, what do we do with that information? Like, do we put that in the design, or how can we kind of use that information that we learn from the customers?
Yeah, 100%. So typically, I think like when it comes to like pain point and gathering all this information, of course, if you speak different teams, they might have different pain points and they might have some different bottlenecks, so on and so forth. I think really we've got to understand, okay, what is the biggest three priorities that you have? What is the biggest three pain points? Everybody has, of course, something that irritates them in their life day to day. But really, what are the big things or the big needles that we can shift? And then how can then we work with implementation to then bring them closer to a state where all these big rocks are being moved away? So I think that's very important, because like no software is perfect, no implementation is perfect. We've got to just make sure that we are solving the big challenges that they've surfaced to us.
And let's put it into the customer view. So Antonia, your team works closely with customers through their transformation journey. I am a witness of that because I am part of your team. So from your perspective, what are the most common challenges finance teams face when modernizing their systems?
Yeah. I mean, we have already been talking a bit about the mindset topic, right? Really trying new things out, getting away from the things that I already know, from all the manual processes I'm used to, I feel safe with, right? Then to move into a world where you don't know yet, okay, is this going to work, right? Try things out. Also invest the time on these things to really then have the success a bit more midterm, right? It needs a time invest. This is something that definitely the teams shy a bit away, I would say, from, right? Rather sticking to what they already have, not getting to that mindset shift. We talked about that. But on the other side, I would say what we pretty often see is that many customers think they are completely unique, right? Very heavy processes, absolutely unique. This will never be possible to get that from the legacy system that is maybe absolutely and customized now to a now rather standardized platform. And I must really say, in most of the cases, right, you have 80% standardization, 80% of standards that you can easily apply, and then maybe 10, 20%, a bit of special stuff that you can also easily adapt to, right? So this is, I think, are the typical misconceptions that we sometimes see. We are very unique, and this is not possible to put that in a platform, in a SaaS platform, standardized one. Next to the mindset shift, that is, I think, very typical in all of the organizations at this moment in time, where we all need to get used to new processes, new technologies.
Yeah, that's a really great idea. Yeah. So let's do rapid questions. So just I will ask something and you just say whatever comes to your mind. It could be one word or one sentences. So just keep it flow, okay? So one word to describe the future of finance, Antonia.
I would say maybe less the actual accounting, less the actual text, rather storytelling, influence, right? Analysis and influence, and after this, less the manual, so to say, actually heavy work.
Bryan, one word to
Actually,
describe the
same,
future of finance, yeah?
yeah, I actually have the same answer in my mind. So I can't think of any others,
Yes.
Antonia, but my answer is advisory. So exactly
Yeah.
the same point, right? You move away from like the manual crunching of numbers, the reconciliation, so on and so forth. You move into a more advisory function, right? The storytelling, what the numbers imply, what can we steward, how can the CFO function steward the other C-suites in terms of, oh, okay, how business is growing and things like that.
So what did you prefer, cloud or on-prem? I think I know the answer.
Do we really have to? Do we really have to answer that, right? Bryan, cloud for sure,
Yeah.
right?
I would be. I don't know who was talking the last 28 minutes. If I were to say on premise, but cloud
Yes.
definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. So biggest misconception about cloud platforms.
I would say lack and security, right? That you're right, and maybe also loss of control, right? That customers think they put their data in a big black box, right? They don't know what's happening there. Where is the data? Is the data secure? I think this is the biggest misconception, because I have seen it so often, exactly this way with on-premises systems.
I think my answer is going to be just one word: slow. Like people think cloud platforms are very slow.
What?
No, just think about when is the last time you streamed a Netflix HD movie? Like that's on streaming. That's on the cloud.
What about
that,
what about less trust? Could fit as well,
also.
like with the idea from Antonia. Okay, so a finance tech trend you are most excited about.
Do you want to take that first, Bryan, this time?
Yeah. I would say like agentic workflows. So I think I've seen this graph, right, where I think maybe in 2020, 2021, at the time that it takes for a human to intervene when AI does something, it's actually like really fast. So you ask a question, and then after a while, the AI just goes haywire because like a human has to step in. And then you see the graph is an exponential graph. After time passes, it goes like that, which means that after a while, let's say in 2024, 2025, actually the time taken for a human to intervene before a human to intervening, it's much more than it was before. And so can you imagine if, let's say, you had an agent that can do your XBRL tagging for you, right? Don't need human intervention. It's a manual process, and then that tagger or what have you can do that for you, and all you have to do is review work, right? So that's something that I'm very excited about. We are still in the early stages, but as we go along, I think these agents will just become more and more
We
powerful.
have that already. Yeah, I can tell you.
Yeah.
Antonia.
No, it's really the move from, let's say, coming from chatbots now to really autonomous agents reconciling your accounts for your right, really finding also anomalies, right, predicting also for you trends, right. I think this is really it.
I just remember another episode where we were talking about automation, good automation. And then our guest, Patrick Van Galen, I asked the same question and he said the coffee machine. So I just wanted to bring it here again. It's not about a finance tech, but is a tech trend, right? Like because you can make different type of coffees. You have one in one machine, different machines inside, right? And I will also add for me the e-bike, right? Like I can bike mountains and take my kids as well and go to work as well. So that's for me also one of the trends, so tech that also changed life, right? So
yeah, this is other than the private tech trends and not the finance
yes.
tech trends. Probably I would also have many coming to my mind.
Yeah. So when things CFOs should stop doing?
That's a tough one. I'm not a CFO. I don't think I'm in the position to comment. But what I would say is that, like, okay, if I really had to, I think like I would wish like CFOs and maybe some of the clients I talk to maybe start thinking about finance more in a strategic and more like storytelling. I think this is a point that we've brought across before, rather than finance purely as a compliance function. Yeah, and I think finance has always kind of had that connotation, like across the last, like especially because finance and accounting has been a legacy, a very long-standing professional a team, especially stewarding a business that a lot of people might be not willing to take the extra step to think that finance can be just more than compliance. So that's maybe what I would share.
Yeah, agree. Maybe let's say less no when it comes to budget and so on, right? And more really being the facilitator and strategic partner when it comes to growth, company growth, right?
Let's do one more.
Yep.
So what is your go-to source for finance news?
Ooh.
The podcast.
I want to say
Our
Facebook.
podcast, Finance in Flow. No. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, right? I think podcasts are great. Like I think like recently Spotify has ramped up the amount of podcasts that they have in the last few years, and really enjoy listening to like my podcast. I used to like as a habit like read the Wall Street Journal or something like that, and then now they have like a Wall Street Journal podcast. So
Yeah.
then you do it on your commute on the way to work. It's more efficient for me and it's more enjoyable. So that's what I would say my source is, apart from Facebook.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah, and in Germany, you would say probably Handelsblatt, right? Or Finance Forward is also an option to check out. But I'm also used to simply using LinkedIn, right? If you follow the right, so to say, individuals or organizations, right? This is also a great source of knowledge.
Antonia and Bryan, do you have anything to add of our topic? Something that we forgot about the cloud native that we maybe can share with our listeners?
I would say just a clear statement and don't shy away. Just do it. It's anyways coming, and rather be early than too late.
Maybe I'll add this, right? So like I think especially if you're talking to finance leaders or something like that, I think one topic we might not have touched upon our whole conversation is about like I think a key element of an organization is not so just software, right? We talked about software, we talked about mindset of people, but also like imagine the next 10, 15, 20 years, the people that will be in these finance functions are now currently studying in primary school. So these people are people who use TikTok on a very daily basis. They stream Squid Game from Netflix all the time. It's something natural to them. So imagine them stepping into the real world, in the accounting world 10, 15 years later, and then seeing spreadsheets and things that are in that manner. So in order, I think, to really motivate and also give these make sure that we have a platform for these young people. I hope I'm included somehow. To strive and add value to the workplace, we have to also move the function to a more to a function of which they find very native to use, like something easy and intuitive for them.
Or
And
dynamic?
so I see that direction for finance, and I hope that that direction continues to grow.
Great point to think about it for the future, right? We need to prepare
Yeah.
for those new people that are going to join the finance in the future.
Yep.
Yeah. So before we close, let's wrap up with some key insights from today's conversation. So legacy systems are holding finance thing back. Modernization is not a luxury; it's necessary to stay competitive and agile. Cloud native platforms are the future. They bring scalability, optimization, and robust security, and they lay the background for AI native finance. Security is evolving. Left shift practices and resilience infrastructure are long not an option. They are the backbone of modern security. Transformation goes beyond technology, so it is about people, processes, mindsetting. So without the cultural change, take alone won't deliver results. Integration versus rip and replace. Yeah, it is a strategy decision. Your AI readiness should guide your path for your choice, but don't forget the people. And finally, start smart. So build on a clear roadmap, choose the right partners, and keep a long-term vision and focus. And that brings us to the end, not just of today's episode, but also of the last. This is our last episode of our season of Financing Flow. It has been an incredible journey exploring the trends, the challenges, and innovation shaping the future of finance. A huge thanks to you today, to our guests today, Antonia and Bryan, and to all the experts, leaders, and listeners who have been joined through this season. If you have enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, share it with your network, and leave us a review. And if you're curious what is next, stay tuned because we are already working on new formats, fresh topic, and even deeper dives into the world of finance and technology. Until next season, stay curious, stay connected, and always keep your financing flow. Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
This episode is brought to you by Lucanet, the CFO solution platform for future-ready finance leaders. Reimagine the way your finance team works with fully integrated workflows and enterprise-grade solutions for all your jobs to be done. From planning and consolidation to reporting, Lucanet connects people, data, and plans into a single source of truth, helping you deliver insights faster and with less complexity. Trusted by leading brands like Allianz, Bayer, Volkswagen, and Trivago, Lucanet empowers finance teams around the world to scale smarter. Learn more at lucanet.com.